It certainly has been a tremendously productive summer thus far for us.
You said you done the video.
No, I'd done the video for Saturday, but this is the opening video for this week's videos. Where are we going again? I can't remember this week. Oh, the fair is right. But Mommy's not going.
Yeah.
That was a green light. That guy just took his life into his own hands, all diesel. So Addie and I are going to the fair this week. Monday, I got a couple of drives Monday night. J.K. Mickey Mantle's got the 9-hole, which is a trailing post at Northfield Park. I told Jason I'd drive his horse, happily for him. So I got 2 in late on Monday evening. Wallop is in earlier on. Hunter Myers is going to drive him. Tuesday, we're going to the fair, Addie Bear, aren't we? First fair of 2023. We're going to the Paynesville Fair. We have Smokin' Hot Irish Girl is in. We have Levesque in action. She's in tough. Levesque in action's in tough. And then we have I'm Fancy Like. There might be some people say, why would you bring I'm Fancy Like to the fairs? To get her some confidence. She'll get around a fair, no problem. Zip around any size track, that filly. So I'm Fancy Like's going to the fair, and so's our boy. What a mission. So 4 of them going to the Paynesville Fair. But what are we doing at the fair, Addie Bear? After the horse races, what are we doing? What do you want to go on?
The roller coaster.
The Woe Coaster? What else? The race cars? The bumper cars, you mean? What else? Is there anything else?
And the Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel. Yes, we are going to the fair on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we have an action-packed card in Northfield Park. All the Sire Stakes are going. Sedona Hill is going. Purple People Eater is going. So is Irresistible Sun, Gypsy Hill, and Venice Blue Chip is going. And B. Lisa, Addie Holly, B. Lisa is also going on Wednesday. Now, that's what's coming up in the immediate future for this week. Let's rewind and take a look at last week, because I'm going to tell you one thing. We had a lot of luck last week. We had a lot of good races, a lot of very productive race cards, a lot of work. Addie, shh. But all the work paid off, and that ends up making it a very good week all around. So, on Sunday of last week, we watched My 1% was a winner again. Quietly, this horse has had a very productive last few months. 5 wins or something, or 4 wins in a second and a break in his last 6 starts. He's been very good. He was a winner. So was Swinging Senorita, held on to be Corn Star in the Sire Stakes. She was very, very good. And I'm Fancy Like also hung on to win her Buckeye Series event. As I said, going to the fair Tuesday with her, that'll be a lot of fun. On Tuesday, we did not have... Oh, yes, we did. Sintra was a winner and raced very, very good. I thought... What? Thank you, sweetheart. I thought Oakwood Cowboy raced very good for Billy Davis in 3rd place finish also. And then Renegade Gypsy, she drank it all. Unfortunately, made a break and jumped on his foot. I saw his foot yesterday, though. It looked good. Emily's doing a great job with him. And I think we had another horse race. Oh, yeah, White Tiger raced. James almost raced him. That's right. We jogged White Tiger, you and me, yesterday together. Was he good? Did you find him sound and everything? Yeah? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So...
Oh,
you got some rocks in your hair? Yeah.
No.
In your eyes? I don't believe you. So, White Tiger raced good, but obviously didn't get much racing room. And they didn't get in this week. It's frustrating as heck. Wednesday was the big start of the big week for us. I went to Philadelphia in the afternoon. Although I didn't win any races, I think that insider trading certainly turned some heads. Definitely inside the stable, but maybe outside the stable. I know that Tim Tetrick, I felt bad. You know, Tim Tetrick's dad passed away last week. Tom, very nice. I didn't know the man that well, but I know that I could tell. I saw Tim for 2 days, and he definitely, obviously, when you lose your father, it's a terrible thing. You know, and our condolences certainly go out to him and Trace and the rest of his family. Very good family of horse people, and you know, it certainly bothered him. But he definitely, in the races, took note of insider trading since she closed up really, really well. his filly won the race, and he thought very highly of her going in. And then after the race, we talked, the replay was on, and we were talking about the horses. He said the filly looked good because she did. Insider Trading definitely turned some heads and looked great. I think we got great things ahead from her. This is a filly that's still paid into a number of big races, and I appreciate the fact that Marco and everybody else understood what we were trying to accomplish and how difficult it is. It's hard to explain sometimes. When you see the horse's trajectory, there is a precipice they get to where they can fall and make and regress and go in the wrong direction. I believe if we hadn't got her to Pennsylvania when we did, if we didn't qualify her, and then luckily missed that first stake race because we would have put her in the Sire Stakes, missed that first stake race, give her a few more days off to relax, and then watch her go out and win so confidently in that pop-up series elimination. And at that point, I felt at least comfortable in saying that she was heading in the right direction. I was still on pins and needles as we entered the race and entered in behind the starting gate with Insider Trading. But as we get into the race, she just felt calm. She felt like everything we taught her was now starting to sit in its proper position. And then when I got her out coming out of the last turn, man, she was absolutely airborne down the lane. Looked very, very, very good. Really excited about the rest of the summer with her. And the other horses pulled the shoes. Not only did she tie up and not only did she show mucus and a little bit of blood in her scope, she had an AST of 4,000 in I think it was 4,000 in Philadelphia. It might have been a little bit lower, but it was very, very high. So I'd said to Tim, if we're going to race 2 in the Arden next Saturday, I suspect Pull the Shoes will be one of them, and so will Insider Trading. I can make a case for Flash Fly. She was a little bit under the weather. Also, Affection is gone to Kentucky, and I think there's still a real, as we talked about precipices. I think you're seeing Royal Emeralds now approach that area where she's going to get. I don't think she's going to get worse because she's always pretty solid. But I think if we just manage her properly for the next 2-3 weeks, we'll see her come forward in a big way. So those fillies all raced in Philadelphia. I was really proud of them. But then I was a little bit worried because I was flying back. My flight was delayed. I literally got back to Northfield Park 9 minutes before the post parade. And post-paraded and drove and won with Purple People Eater. She jogged. Sedona Hill did a little more work. Wasn't as strong on the end of the mile, but did a little more work than the other filly. The other filly just commanded the race. No, not even a breath of concern from start to finish in her race. Whereas Sedona Hill had to leave, drop in the 3-hole, hard move quarter pole to the front, control the rest of the race and then sprint down the lane. Her mile was very impressive also. Venice Blue Chip I thought was a tiny bit flat, but lots to work with this filly. There always is. And Alibaba had her first lifetime start, a victory. So she'll be heading to Illinois. Her first stake race, I believe Jim messaged me yesterday, was August 11th. I thought it was the 6th. I think he said the 11th. Either way, I'd like to get the other filly qualified and both of them out to him. As I said to him, when the Minnesota meet is over in September, Per Lucky will head back out to Jim and race at Hawthorne. They open up September the 6th, I believe. Maybe that's the number I got. And then,
driving is 60 and an 80.
What's that, honey?
You're going 60 and an 80.
I don't care. It's Sunday.
Okay. Well, the guy behind you might.
Yeah, well, he's driving a Tesla. I'm sure he'll get over it. And when it came to Alibaba and those horses, I think they'll go out there. So will Per Lucky, and we will send probably a pacer out to if there's a fillies and mares open. I don't know if they fill those in the Hawthorne or not. Our new horse, Think of Galaxies, could end up out there. Patrick the Piranha could end up out there. Jim lives on a farm, so could be a good spot for him also. The options for Illinois are plentiful as we head into September. Now we headed into Thursday on a pretty good high note. Now, you guys know I don't want things to go wrong, and that's why I want to be everywhere. And we warmed up militant. He warmed up god awful. He ran all over the track and looked terrible. So you know what he did? He went back out again. We stripped down all the gear off him. I zipped him a quarter, said he feels a lot better like this. Took his knee boots off, taped his knees up, took his boots off behind, put vet wrap and polos on him behind. Tighten his hobbles up. That's what I did also. And I think when we went behind the gate, he knew it was go time. And I had him on his toes real good when I moved him in the last turn. Again, the training always bubbles up, right? And when I moved him, he had the opportunity. He was hung up where he was comfortable. He was trotting good, and he attacked and finished them off in a merciless way. And I love that when I see that from horses. So we kicked off Thursday with a big, big win with Militant. It was only a maiden, but keep in mind, that wasn't a 2-year-old maiden. That was a maiden with aged horses.
Because it said the 2-year-old still inside.
Yeah.
That's the only track that does that still.
I know. I think it's a formality in some places. They just haven't changed it. I forbid you, although she finished 7th, clearly looking for room. What would she have done with that room had I found it? Were you clearing your throat, or was that subtle?
No, I literally was.
Okay, I was just checking because I didn't know.
Why?
I was just checking in on you.
I wasn't even listening.
7th beat 2, but if she got room, what would she have done with it? I think she probably would have won, but maybe I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. We'll find out soon enough. Activation, again, I thought he raced really, really well in the final. A winner there in 57-3. Here's a horse that quietly has amassed 3 wins in a second. Scotty only lost with him. It's worth mentioning. Victory Blue Chip made a break, but again, I think it's going to be Tinker with Victory Blue Chip. I'll go with him as next start. We'll get him back on track. Merchant Man, another win. Amy called it. She said he was going to come on and be a nice horse in the summer. Can he do when the non-winners are 3? I don't know. They went in 56 last week. He certainly impressed the last 2 weeks.
Like 58.
No, he won in 57 the other day, I think, didn't he? Oh, maybe he did win in 58. I don't know. But he's getting better and looked good the other day. Then I rushed down to Scioto. I talked about making it 9 minutes before the post parade on Wednesday. The judges were extremely accommodating in Scioto. They actually let somebody else post parade the horse.
Wow.
I didn't even get there until they had already post paraded. They allowed me to blow the breathalyzer in the paddock, jump on the horse, and go out and race. Now the horse made a break, but I think it was more or less we were looking for a long-term solutions with Prince Charmer. Let his head down, put the belly band hobbles on him, make a few little changes when we really should have had a little more here and now built into that plan. Also, I think with the back to the bike hobbles, I loop him over into the 2-hole, and I think I'm first or second with him. Definitely second. Hey guys, shh, take her over to see the kitties. So Prince Charmer, an unfortunate break, and I guess again one of those situations where I feel I at least should take some of the responsibility. The changes we made to him, I think, allowed for that break, and that's got to be on me. And actually, he did warn me coming into the turn that he was at top speed, and I needed a little bit more, and I ended up pushing him off his feet. So I think he'll bounce back in his next start also. Now, I'm looking at the calendar, so there's a bunch of bouncing around. Drebin made a break, a little bit off left front. We're going to take him to the vet tomorrow and check on him. He is at the precipice. Is he going to move forward, or is he going to get time off? Either one is fine. He's already proven that he's going to be a pretty talented colt, I think. And, you know, when I trained him the other day without the hobbles, I think he can go without hobbles. I hope the vet can patch him up tomorrow, and I hope that I can school him without hobbles on. I think he can race without hobbles on. I truly do. Five Fish Species was a winner. Did you see her race? Mm-hmm. Came from last to win in 57-3. A great conversation afterwards between Steve, myself, Megan, and Scotty about going to the Excelsior A in Saratoga, her next start. Now, my thought process is, and there's two very different paths here, two different thought processes, and both are right if applied to the right path. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Five Fish Species won the maiden, Fitz and Elmer's a 2. There's lots of places to race her in Yonkers or anywhere right now. Now, Steve wanted to race her in the Excelsior for a different reason, and a good reason. Steve and Jeff had bought into Five Fish Species. She's a full sister to Bomb Hugger. Very, very good family. That's Mary Marauder's family, I believe, all in the back end. Very good family. Lots of breeding potential there. And Steve's take on it is, with a stake win, a good mark, and some pedigree, that mare is worth more. Her foals are worth more. Now, my point of view, and I look at it totally different maybe than other people. So, and this is what I try to talked to about with Steve, and he understands it. I don't approach the yearling sales the same as other people. So really what my feeling is very subjective to me. It really doesn't matter in the bigger scheme of things. My take on it is simple. I'm buying the horse. I don't really care. If I look at the mare and her breeding is good. If she qualified in 2.6, took a mark of 51, was a world champion or otherwise, really doesn't matter to me. And that is not the historical train of thought when it comes to purchasing yearlings. So in that regard, my belief is it doesn't matter if she ever won a stake race or even took a great mark. But that is not I would say the unanimous thinking path with people. I don't think it is. So in that regard, I believe he's right. I mean, it doesn't really matter what Anthony McDonald thinks in regards to yearling purchases or picking out yearlings. It really doesn't matter what I think. It's different for everybody. He needs 2 people to want a foal at a 5-fish species more than everybody else. 1 for sure, but 2 would help. So again, in that regard, he's right. A win in an Excelsior A would show mark of X, because I think she's going to go faster than 57-3. A mark of X stake winner at 3 Excelsior in New York. Yeah, sure, pad the resume, and there's no reason it wouldn't. Put it this way, I guess if you step back and look at it from the most broad scope, it certainly isn't going to hurt her. So why not? So I think in that regard, 5-fish species will be going to the Excelsior A division in her next start. Now I don't know if Scotty goes to Saratoga. I'm sure Mark will go, or really anybody. So I suspect she'll be entered for next week in the Excelsior A division. Now, we also raced Cutie Cumber at Yonkers, 5th. Megan said she was good, but she'd like to get her off the half for a little while. I agree. Same thing with her. Worth a lot of money as a broodmare. I'd like to get a good mark on this filly. She's a beautiful filly, and I think her best work, especially since I've seen what I believe is Hornplayer turn the corner a little bit now. Maybe just a tiny baby step backwards the other day, but the 2 starts before that were very good, and I have every reason to believe she's going to take a good mark and be a good mare. Both these fillies are going to be worth a lot of money as broodmares, so the goal will be to get a good mark on her, and I think Megan knows that also. So race her wherever you want. Put her in where she can win. Race her wherever you desire. So continuing on with the mixed bag, Gypsy Hill was very good. So was Irresistible Sun. Irresistible Sun wasn't as fast, but had to wait almost 2 hours because of that thunderstorm that had gone on. So Irresistible Sun raced huge in Scioto. So did Gypsy Hill. I thought Sweeney was good, needs to get a little bit stronger. Did have flip-flops on him. We did get the flip-flops off Irresistible Sun. I thought he was much better. I'd like to get them off of Sweeney. We'll see about that in the coming weeks. Punch the Clock. First lifetime start. She was so good. Second in 58 in the pouring rain. Track was hard as a rock and a little bit sore right hind pulling up. There was some swelling at the top of her leg. Under x-ray and ultrasound, nothing was found. But I did notice in the video, you can see her hit there. So is this just a matter of cool that out? She bruised that top part of her leg. Cool that out and then continue on when it is cooled out? Or is there something brewing in there? I don't know. If we get to the point where, okay, she's ready to go now, let's start her up again, fine. I think we need to make a little shoeing adjustment up front because she obviously was striking that jack area just below the jack, the top part of the cannon bone in her right hind leg. So we'll work with that. But man, she certainly showed some pop for a filly first lifetime start. Then we went to Friday. Born to Dance jumped over a shadow. I think the easiest way to mitigate that is simply just ask for a later race. Rather than, I know somebody said, Pat said, pull his hobbles up, pull his head up. This is the same horse that I raced over all those shadows the week before. And somebody said, well, he didn't jump over a shadow. He most definitely did. If you watch him leave the gate, he skips over the first giant shadow from the light pole. Second one, subtle, but he skips over it again. Now he's a little bit off balance, right? A little more of a skip going into the third one. Now Brett, he's getting to the turn, so now he's looking at the shadows, obviously seeing them a little bit, trying to size up the first turn and pace forward, and he just rolled off stride. Now, if his hobbles were tighter and his head was up, would he have paced over them? Maybe, I suppose. But why would we do that when he'd already raced over them twice? I'm not pulling his hobbles up, not an inch. I think he'll learn to pace into them, and I think they're fine the way they are. And Jason and I spoke about this after the race. As far as pulling his head up, if there's any slack in his head check, by all means, yeah, pull it up. You should have a snug, head check when he goes on the track. Him especially. Where's the shadow roll? He's got the screen. He shouldn't have a loose head, but his hobbles aren't coming in at all. I think it's just a perfect storm, right? And it was all started by the fact that it was day racing. Yes, the last 2 times I went over shadows, it was at night. Now, there were shadows on the track, but they weren't the same, right, as the shadows in the day. And clearly, he can discern between the two, and we need to fix that. Horn player, as I said, little baby steps backwards, maybe tiny bit. But again, I drove her different. Rather than staying bottled up, I moved her first over down the backstretch. She kind of hung out a little self-conscious in the last turn and then trotted on again the last 100 yards. But she's getting better and getting more confident without the hobbles on. I was happy with her. Coupe de Ville, again, just a meat and potatoes type day. Coupe de Ville, 4th and 54 and 4. Austral Hanover, 4th and 54 and a piece. Cash Deals did tied up a little bit, but she did tie up. So we're going to keep working on her. Time is on my side. Great first start for him. Finished 5th, pace 55.1 last quarter and 27.1. And keep in mind, an important factor of that race also was he didn't race for 2 weeks, right? We entered him the week before. He didn't get in. Sure, Harry trained him here in a jog cart or something, but it was not like a racing situation. Crantini was huge. 154 and 2. I would say I'm a little more certain than not that Crantini will go to the Arden next Saturday, but that will be up to the way that Monday and Tuesday goes. He does fit the now. This is a great conversation I had with Tim. He said Anthony fits in hours at 3, but 5 still. The one in class he won, he still fits. I said, yeah, well, if he doesn't race fantastic in the Arden, he still fits that class too, which is true. And I think if we're going to start maybe looking at rejoining the stake path for this guy, then the Arden is a pretty obvious first step back into that stake rotation. So he will likely race in the Arden next Saturday, I would imagine. JK Victory was a winner in 150 flat and looked very good. It's so odd watching the racing in Indiana. It looked like he was 3rd coming out of the turn and then ended up winning by a length or around a length. I thought the horse raced great. The only flat mile of the day really was Kings County from what I'm looking at. You know, as far as disappointing, Delicious Stone DK, you certainly can't ask this horse to race against. Looks like money in those horses. We bought him for $61,000 to be an okay horse, and he was racing against incredible animals. You know, Southwind Terrian was in there. 2 or 3 or 4 good stake horses were in there. Looks like money was great, getting up for second. Scotty drove him perfect to be second. But Delicious Stone, it's hard to really gauge how the mile was when he sat last the whole way and was overmatched. So flat line, that was important. Now we can get back to racing. We'll see what Mark and Melissa come up with this week for Delicious Stone DK. And as I said, Kings County, listen, the horse has done nothing but good for us for 2 years now. Cut him some slack, he had a bad race. And then we talked about yesterday in the Saturday video, Arson. I just think I gave Scotty poor information. I think if he had raced him like he's an okay horse, you snap him over into the 2-hole behind too many captains, and who knows what happens. Instead, he raced him as if he was a very, very good horse. Got away 5th, covered him up, 2nd over, perfect trip. Just not really his cup of tea. In fairness, he never really trained good in a 2nd over position. If you take the time to go back and look at all his training miles, on the front or bottled up is where he always did his best work. He's a stalker. He doesn't like to race for a long period of time. He'll race fast and hard for short periods of time, and I think that is probably the way I should have described him to Scotty, and that's on me. Stay Close was very good. A lot to improve here with this guy. I think he's gonna come forward in a big way in his next few races. I thought he was off left front for sure. It was his foot. Amy thought he had a tiny curb coming right behind, which is possible. All these things are addressable and will be addressed. Winter Bells, I think, needs to be better, should be better, and can be better. We're just going to have to continue to start shaking the rust off her, polishing her up, and getting her moving forward. Some shoeing changes, a few equipment changes, I think, will do the trick in that regard. How the hell, as I said, I talked about him. What's up, Gregory?
Not much. He was better. The swelling pretty well went down.
Oh, good.
I went about 3 miles, and then he went back to his food.
Oh, good.
But I gave him Butte before I went out.
You did? Okay, good. Yeah, that's fine. We'll keep an eye on him. I'll come back tonight.
He wouldn't fucking eat. He was in the stall, wouldn't even...
Yeah, his pain threshold's pretty low, I think.
Yeah, we had to get a broom. And
Yeah, it feels pretty
she
sorry
had
for
him over
himself.
the ass. But when I got him out, I said, well, I better carry a whip. I'm going to have a whip. And he got out and
Yeah,
walked
he gets-
around this turn, and then he
He
jogged
gets
through,
feeling sorry for himself.
3 miles.
So we're talking about, all right, thank you. We're talking about Steel Cowboy. We had him castrated, and, you know, he's feeling pretty sorry for himself, you know, about being castrated. That area is obviously tender. A little tender. But sometimes they'll swell up and get a little soreness in there, and you have to move them. And they said today he didn't want to go out and jog. He didn't want to go out and move. But once he got him out there moving, he was fine. I think it might take a little bit longer to get him right back in the swing of things. The vet did say he had giant testicles. So maybe it might take him an extra week. I don't know. We'll see how the next few days go with him. So how the hell, as I said, I think he's got an abscess brewing. I'm going to pull that shoe off in a minute and have a look at it myself. But he is going to Ohio. I know there's going to be a lot of people say, well, you know, you move all these horses that just, you say they aren't good enough, and then you keep sticking up for a horse like How the Hell. Because, one, he's worth less with a bunch of breaks and bad lines on his card. Secondly, I'll move the horses when I'm confident that they've gone as far as they're going to go. If we get this horse's foot squared away and get him squared away properly, there are classes in Ohio for him, the condition claiming trot up where Stonebridge Acadi was racing in those horses. I think that How the Hell will do just fine in there. I felt bad for him, more or less, than anything last night. We're going to get to the bottom of that right now. Tactical Mounts was fantastic. Very, very impressed with the job Megan and Scotty have done with this filly. And then, obviously, No Free Lunch and Atlas Hanover were pretty much write-offs. No Free Lunch had to race against Line Drive Hanover. A little unfair, but that's what has to happen because he's got a lot of money made last 5. And Atlas Hanover just hasn't raced in 3 weeks and then drew the 10-hole. What are you going to do? So, a huge week for the stable. I'm just going to go through it quickly. Really quickly. So, just talking about stake wins, Swinging Senorita, I'm Fancy Like is 2. There's 2 wins. Then we have Alibaba wasn't a stake win. Purple People Eater 3. Sedona Hill 4. Militant wasn't a stake race. Activation was 5 stake wins. This week, Gypsy Hill 6, Irresistible Sun 7. 7 stake wins this year, this week. Not to mention another 3 or 4 or 5 victories aside from that. 6, counting. I almost did it. You almost got me. I did not talk about. I have to do my Saturday video over. I knew this was going to happen. Sunset Acres Girl is not on the calendar. I said this last week. I'm going to have to redo my entire Saturday video now. That's frustrating. Anyway, Sunset Acres Girl was our 8th stake win of the week. Going on 13 wins last week for the stable, and 8 of them were stake wins. So a very productive week last week. Let's hope we can keep it going, keep things moving forward for the rest of the summer. And listen, I've already had 2 emails about the yearling sales. Give me a break. I'm going to have a stroke if you start talking about yearling books and yearling sales and sending me pedigree on yearlings. We already own 6 yearlings here at the stable. We'll likely pick up a couple of more before the yearling sales start, but for the love of God, can you let me at least get through the start of the stake season before you start sending me yearling videos and yearling pedigrees? Yes, we're going to buy yearlings, and I'm excited about the fall and what the position the stable has been in and will continue to be in as we move forward. Really happy about the year. Can't wait to see some of our bigger ticket items start moving forward for this year. Punch the Clock certainly looked fantastic in her first start. You know, does she need a little time to get over her that bruise she put? I assume it's a bruise. Until it's not, it is. To get over that bruise she put on her right hind leg. Yeah, she might need a week or 2. I don't know. She certainly looked talented. Time is on my side. You would like to see him pace 52, 53 right now, but for a big giant horse that wears a 61-inch hobble, I think a pretty good mile was 55 and 127 on the end of it. Really happy with him. Just so excited about everything moving forward this season here at the stable. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you had a wonderful week. I don't really know how you couldn't have, because we certainly did. So with that, I'll say sayonara. I will talk to you all very soon, and good luck to everybody this week. Take care.